Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Kiln Restaking Rendez-Vous. I'm Edgar, protocol specialist at Kiln, and today we have Jay from Silence Laboratories, and we're going to be talking about the Silence Lab AVS. How are you, Jay?
No, hi Edgar. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. To start this off, maybe you can start by kind of introduce yourself, like your background, and how you started to work in the blockchain space.
Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, I'm Jay, one of the co-founder and CEO of Silence Laboratories. It's a young company based out of Singapore, but pretty distributed. Uh, First of all, yeah, going with the history of the company, it comes from the academic research, which we have been doing. All the co-founders are PhDs in cybersecurity. We have been doing our PhDs particularly in critical infrastructure, designing better authentication algorithms, and security. So during our PhD, we have been designing algorithms for seamless and usable authentication, and that triggered the starting of our company, Silence. And since the very early stage, our goal has been to create a privacy tech enterprise, and that's what drives us towards some of the critical use cases which we encountered in blockchain space. Particularly, we started talking to digital asset players, wallets. And then we figured out that single point of failure in account management was a pretty interesting problem to hop on. And we didn't have a decent background in maths. So yeah, we latched on and we found a good problem to solve. And that's how we started. Since then, things have been evolving, which we will talk more. We have been evolving in our product, in our mindset, in our approach to market.
Nice.
That is more.
Great. And so did the approach that you have right now was always going to be the initial approach, or did you try to tackle a cybersecurity problem in the crypto space at the beginning that might have changed? What is kind of like your background story in the context of review?
Right. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So when we started, we had no idea about crypto, honestly. And this is about 2021, early 2021. We were trying to explore if the algorithm we have been developing in multi-factor auth can be used for crypto wallets. That's how we started to interact with wallets. We went then to sell our two-factor authentication solutions. We found multiple vulnerabilities in two-factor authentication solutions, published them in good conferences, and then we thought, okay, this can be useful for crypto wallets because we have been listening about multiple scams, phishing scams, and hacks. But when we approached them, we found no. The problem which we were trying to solve is good. It happens, but the severity is not that high. The severity of key management, single point of failure in key is much more higher. We interacted with something like MetaMask in the beginning, and then after doing interaction, we figured out solving decentralization of keys is something which will be fully impactful, and that actually introduced us to the mainstream crypto market or crypto economics. And then since then we have been focusing on that particularly. So it has been an evolution with a slow evolution as we have been learning about this space.
Great. And so like you and your co-founders, you met in the academic space, right?
Right. Yeah. We all met in academic space. My co-founder Rendez-Vous, who is originally from Ukraine, was doing his PhD in Singapore. And another co-founder who did PhD at MIT, then he moved to Singapore. And we all somehow aligned on this common problem around cybersecurity.
Great. And so the product that you are building today involves something that's called MPC. Can you remind the audience what is MPC technology?
Yeah, sure. So probably before going into that direction, I will share roughly the vision of the company and then why we use MPC. So Silence Laboratories is all about creating privacy-preserving internet. Our long-term vision is to redesign the way access to internet and processing on internet and communication happens. Currently, as we will acknowledge, it's very centralized. We do have lots of assumption on this space, and it's not certainly privacy-preserving, not transparent, not end-to-end auditable. Our goal is to create a privacy-preserving data economy. And to achieve that, we have broken the whole roadmap into two phases. One is to fix account management and access. and then to fix the way data collaboration happens. We will go in 2 phases. That's the whole goal of the company. And MPC, the multi-party computation, is a beautiful tool which we believe can help us achieve that. And that's why we are heavily building cryptographic libraries centered around MPC. Now coming back to why MPC, because the fundamental power of MPC as a concept is to enable you to compute any arbitrary function, let's say theoretically, on distributed data. Let's say we have a set of data, D1, D2, and D3 with 3 different parties. It can be anything. We can compute a function as if they were in same space, same place, and get the same output. So yeah, MPC helps you to compute functions on the distributed data sets in a privacy-preserving manner so that none of the party can see at each other's data. In the first phase of the company, that data is key share. So imagine MetaMask has, or any wallet has a key in one place in your browser. Let's imagine a scenario where you split those key shares, not literally, but using MPC-based decentralized key generation. One key share on browser, one key share on server, or maybe on phone. And then we use MPC-based threshold signature algorithm to generate a signature. This is much more secure and much more agile compared to a single point of key-based signatures. And that's where MPC kind of helps a lot. And similarly, this D1, D2, and D3 or data points can be your personal data. It can be your digital footprints. And you can compute arbitrary any function. And that's part of the phase 1 of the company. Phase 2 of the company, sorry.
That's very interesting. I used to work at Ledger before, so I kind of heard a bit of about MPC in the context of crypto wallets. So that's one thing that I kind of understood. Can you give a bit more like can you give like a concrete example of what MPC would work in the phase 2 that you were describing?
Yeah, sure. So let's imagine a world where my financial transactions, my financial footprints are with a different entities, right? It can be with a crypto exchange, it can be with a bank, and we want to create a scoring algorithm. We want to use our transaction histories across different financial institutions to get some credit line. The way it happens right now is there are companies which dumps all your financial history in one place, and then they will calculate your score. It has been working fine, but the problem with the whole design is you are trusting that third party, and they do cross-sell your data, your transaction history. So that's not going to be the mainstream thing down the line. And that's the beauty of blockchain and what we are talking today can enable using PET tools like MPC or FHE. So what we do here is that using our infra, which we have been building, our libraries will be integrated with these financial institutions. And let's say our library is working with a bank, Wells Fargo, one, and then exchange in one place, and then one bank in another place. And then these data or transaction history can be D1, D2, and D3s. And the function here is a scoring function, or credit scoring function. You can compute the same score without actually revealing your transactions to another parties, and then get the output, expose it as an API. And that's the infra we are trying to build using MPC. A decentralized, distributed computation in a privacy-preserving manner.
Very interesting. I think this is important to remind the audience of like the privacy challenges that exist in crypto today, and there's the security challenge that come with it. Crypto has seen a lot of hacks in its history and a lot of data leaks. Do you have like something in mind, for example, that would never have happened if they were using like a Silence Lab product?
So all the single point of failures, whether it is Web 2 or Web 3, wherever your data leaks happens on your identities data, on there have been multiple naceless attacks as well, where digital identity wallets expose all the identity informations. And yeah, there was a recent news which came up a couple of days back. UK claiming that there was some naceless attack by China on their digital electronic data points, right? So all these single point of failures could have been avoided if there was never data in one place. If we can distribute the risk using tools like MPC or FHE, certainly these things can be avoided. And same for key management. All the accounts related hack, which happens because of keys being in one place. Yeah, they could have been avoided if we use tools like MPC-based distributed signatures. And that's going mainstream. Yeah, you would see many companies in the space building around. You have chains like Fireblocks, companies like Blockdaemon, and many others operating in a more of enterprise setup, and then companies like us providing libraries and working with different digital asset companies.
Very interesting. Let's take a step back for a moment and remind ourselves that we are talking in the context of a podcast around restaking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great way to talk about like EigenLayer and your relationship with EigenLayer. When you started to build Silence Lab, maybe you were not aware of that EigenLayer was going to be starting as a project. When did you get convinced that you would need to integrate to EigenLayer as an AVS to better your product?
Wow, that's something that happened a couple of months back. So yeah, we have been building since around 2.5 years, but we came to know about Eigen around 6-7 months back, when through some channel I reached out to Sriram and where we talked about special signatures and decentralized compute, and then we aligned. Yeah, this is certainly a problem which Eigen and us, if we build together, can solve. So the very beauty of Eigen or similar infrastructure solution is that they are doing the heavy lifting of bringing economic trust, which we as a company, if we start to do, we will waste lots of our operational resources in doing that. And this is valid for both our phase 1 and phase 2, both for account management and data processing in privacy preserving manner. See, why Eigen? In this case, so let's say we were trying to build a decentralized key management or signature scheme. What would we do? We will create multiple nodes of, let's say, on GCP or AWS, and talk to partners. Maybe we'll talk to some prestigious organizations and then tell them, okay, can you run a node? And can we have a legal agreement that, okay, you won't collude or we will trust you and all those things? That would have been operationally very hard. And so we did not build any decentralized key management solution then, because it was a hard territory. But the moment we heard about Eigen, it was a aha moment, because now we can offload that part through restaking, build the economic trust inside, and we will just cater to the cryptographic algorithms. And that's a powerful tool which Eigen is building. And that's why we'll latch on to developing around it. And we can talk much more why it adds lots of value and create differentiation if we are not building using Eigen and without Eigen, particularly about, let's say, decentralized key management solution.
Yeah, I think it's actually a perfect segue. I would love for you to talk more about the why behind like the Silence Lab EigenLayer collaboration.
Sure. So like I was saying, if we were not using Eigen to build a key management solution, which is running multiple MPC nodes for successful signing on cloud, then there was no trust, and there was no incentive as such binded to the transactions that parties won't collude. So what we are doing here is that each of the operators in Eigen ecosystem will have our MPC code for successful signing, and they will hold one key share of the user. So let's say we are starting with a system of around, let's say 11 operators, right? Each will have one key share. And we have two paradigms. Either user can have one key share or maybe not. So we support both mechanisms. When user has one key share, then we do use hierarchical special signatures, where user key share is at a higher hierarchy and network key shares are a lower hierarchy. And network can't sign even if they meet the quorum structure. So just to align everyone, in MPC signing, we can define a quorum. It can be 2 out of 3 or n out of n, where 2 out of n, where t is a threshold. If t parties can come together, they can create a valid signature. So in this case, what's happening is each operator has one key share. Now, Eigen brings inherent economic trust because they have rested some value in network, right? There is a good amount of dollar which is at risk for these parties. They won't just collude and move away with all the funds of the user, because it's not just one AVS which they are working with. They'll be working with multiple AVS, and they're also part of the Ethereum ecosystem. So the collusion probability is super low. That's coming from the design perspective. But we have also added identifiable abort. So we can identify two things. If somebody operator is not replying, they are offline, they are not meeting the liveness guarantees, number one. And we can differentiate that from an operator which is trying to cheat or providing some malicious message or not complying to the protocol. And once we know these two information, we can design slashing algorithms around it. That's part of the inherent hour signing scheme, which is probably one of the first going to be in production in this particular setup. So because of these, there's a very heavy trust in the ecosystem. And then multiple retail wallets, whether it is EOA based or whether it is smart account based, they can come and start building with us. And that's why comes what we are going to do next. So we have partnered with Bioeconomy, which is one of the leading smart account infra provider. And then we are going to create decentralized signatures, an account management tool on top of Eigen as an AVS, and it can be used by any wallets. And then they can start building around it. They can build programs on when to sign transactions. So basically, it's a programmable account management infrastructure catering particularly to retail, but it can be for enterprise grade wallets as well, because we are providing multiple niche features, which is non-collusive. Networks can't collude if you use the second paradigm where user has a key share. We have identifiable abort where you can slash if there is some mischief happening. And we also have a feature wherein your signing is a function of the weighted staked value. Until now, people have been using multi-sig for that. In typical, let's say, cross-chain bridge setup, where your signing authority is a function of your weight staked value. We have adopted the same in MPC setup. The computation happens off-chain and you submit just one signature, so the cost is also pretty low. So you can design a weighted central signing algorithm. So because of these three primitives and economic incentives aligning with the whole ecosystem, it creates a very powerful tool for digital asset management. And we believe we will be onboarding lots of wallet designers onto this ecosystem.
Great. So yeah, it's clear that you guys will benefit tremendously from having like economic security backing your protocol. My follow-up question would be, how much economic security would your protocol need?
Yeah, that's something which we are evaluating very honestly. We have been talking to rigorously with different operators. It's something which we are still about to lock in, but we will keep it n times multiple of the maximum value of wallets which our system will support. So certainly it will be a double-digit multiple of the total accounts which the network can support.
Great. And so the follow-up question is, the way you attract this economic security is by providing revenue to that restate capital, basically. Can you talk a bit about like how big you think the market is for people that will be using the Silence Lab protocol, and and how basically like how you plan to retribute this economic security securing the Silence Lab AVS?
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting question, which I believe the whole ecosystem is trying to figure out, and we will see a sweet spot. So we will go in stages. There is no rush as such, and we will try to understand how ecosystem is behaving. In the beginning, it's a filter down of the revenue which the network will be getting from the wallets. Any company, let's say any wallet company which will use this infrastructure, will pay to the network price, which is a function of numbers of transactions or numbers of accounts they will create. And we can easily imagine, I mean, based on what you see for MetaMask itself, right? The top 3 wallets, they have double-digit millions of accounts, right? So let's imagine a world where we shift all of these people, this ecosystem. You have around more than 50 million or 60 million of active wallets, and that can lead to a very decent amounts of revenue coming in flow to the ecosystem, and that will get a split between us and the operators. But yeah, that's something which will happen down the line. It's a slow process. We have to build trust first, and then show the world that this is possible. A couple of things will be very important: usability liveness guarantees from the operators, and signing speed. And we are quite proud that we have adopted an algorithm which is potentially one of the fastest, called DKNS23. It's much more faster, or we can say around 10 to 15 times faster than contemporary deployed in production algorithms. So because of these, we will be able to onboard lots of these existing wallets, both EOA and smart account ecosystem. And we can imagine, hitting around a couple of millions of active wallets per day by end of this year. That's our target, while working together with players like Bioeconomy.
Great. And these wallets, these underlying users, how will be the form of basically how will they pay basically for this service? And the reason I ask is also because our restaker audience, they want to know like what type of asset they will get as retribution.
Right. So we are trading on two things, honestly. One is a fixed price as subscription, and then building a tokenomics around. That tokenomics will be a function of, like I said, how we see the ecosystem behaving. We don't want to rush, but in the beginning, it will be a subscription-based pricing as a function of transactions being done. And then, eventually we will figure out the best sweet spot tokenomics around it.
And do you already know if it's going to be if it's going to be USDC or something else?
Still figuring out. We will observe and then choose which one will be healthy. Probably, we're going to observe how EigenDA and a couple of other AVS operates. And then we will choose which sounds most healthy for the ecosystem. But the first thing is we have to bring the volume. We have to bring all the wallets live and to use the infrastructure. Then the revenue sharing would not be tough. It would be quite promising.
Makes sense. And so you mentioned EigenDA. The AVS mainnet is something that's coming very soon. Talk a bit about like your timelines for launch. When do you expect to be live?
Right. So our current phases, things are working fine. In-house, we are talking to operators, and we are going to choose 11 operators in the beginning. And we are talking with them, and we will be giving them the whole package in a period of around 10 days. We will run the whole test phase for around around a month. And the plan is to go live somewhere around mid-May, when the things will go to proper production state. And from there we'll see how things go ahead.
Great. And so do you already have like, I guess on the business development side, wallets or users like waiting for the Silence Lab AVS to launch in order to use the product?
That is a huge push. And that's again because the way we have partnered with Bioeconomy, we will see a great influx of smart account management wallets. And we will try to onboard many more. So if you track the whole space, you have lots of social login-based wallets. Many more. You have passkey-based wallets. The way they are operating is they have passkey, they can authenticate to a network, and then that will create sign. Things are working fine over there, but those networks don't have same economic guarantees. They don't have slashing. They don't have weighted signing, and all the primitives which Eigen brings. So the amount of trust is not that high. So we should be able to sift them. And we have been talking to many such social login-based wallets, many such passkey-based wallets, embedded wallets particularly, and then they will sift. We do have a waitlist, and we are very happy to talk to any embedded wallet company, any key management company, and to work together with them to onboard to this infrastructure, where the speed and usability is guaranteed at a much higher level compared to the contemporary infrastructure.
And talk a bit about like how is it to run the Silence Lab AVS as an operator? Is it something? It sounds like it's something that might not be a very heavy lift at the beginning, but as a usage becomes more and more complex, could the Silence Lab AVS and some operators face the risk of having to deal with a very expensive and heavy lifting?
Let's see the phase one. Our phase one is it's a small amount of computation. So for each signature, right? We are not doing some heavy computation as such on the ABS side. And the protocols are pretty optimized to do that. So there won't be any heavy lifting for phase one, where it's just about account management. But for phase two, which is a much larger game where we are trying to bind the whole reason of privacy preserving internet, then yeah, there we will have huge amount of data being pumped and processing happening, which will be quite heavy. But the economics around it will be much more rewarding as well, because the vision is to create subnets of applications. One subnet for finance, one subnet for, let's say, healthcare, one subnet for fraud finding and compliance, and many more. And then the whole market is pretty big, which comes with the heavy lifting and data management. But we'll work together with operators and our partners to realize that. But yeah, in the phase one for account management, yeah, it's pretty, the libraries are pretty lightweight. Computations are very optimal and not so heavy. The only expectation will be to use proper liveness guarantee, bit redundancy, and also support conferential compute or secure enclave supporting hardware, because yeah, you have key management or key shares at stake.
Understood. And so you mentioned earlier that you will be just starting with an active set of 11 operators. Do you plan on having that active set growing in the future? Do you have a future for like a completely like permissionless protocol where any operator can opt in?
Yeah, that's a very nice question. It will take time to go permissionless. It's in our vision, and protocol actually supports network increment without obstructing the user's private key. Users won't notice any change in their private key. They will be able to perform transactions the way we were doing before, and we can change the quorum structure and network. So we will increase it to provide higher economic trust and better decentralization, and slowly maybe move towards permissionless, but not in the beginning. Yeah. We don't want to inherently just jump on create a chain just for account management. First, it should have add value, let people see the value and match to the experience and guarantees which a digital asset product needs. And then, yeah, we will move to trustless.
Okay. And a follow-up question in the context of EigenLayer. How do you see like what the operators in your set are doing with the rest of their AVS that they support? Like, could you be like reluctant to share your economic security with like AVSs that maybe have like higher risk profiles?
Are you talking about shared economic security? But
yeah, in the context of pooled security.
Yeah, actually, that's required for a sustainable ecosystem. We can't just tell an operator to just work with us and just take some value, because ultimately they are here for making some revenue, right? They have some economic expectations to meet. So the sustainable model is that one operator shares across multiple ABSs, and we need to work with them in that capacity. We will evaluate how this whole sharing and risk thing happens, and accordingly we will choose 11 operators to work with us.
Do you feel like maybe also you would be using the attributable the attributed
seats? Yeah, that would help. That would be of good help to us.
Nice.
And slashing is coming up, I believe, in sometime later in my ecosystem. That will also be a very powerful trust building parameter.
Yes, it's a good thing that you mentioned that slashing will not be available in EigenLayer from the get-go. There will be like we believe to be like a 6-month period where there will be no slashing. So yeah, less risk for the risk-takers, but of course more risk a bit for the protocols building on EigenLayer. So slashing is something that will be needed along the way. Perfect. So I guess like my last question would be, what is your long-term vision of EigenLayer? Like you've seen as a protocol builder, what it enabled for you. How do you envision the future of the space, and maybe not EigenLayer in general, maybe Restaking in general, and what it's what you can do with economic security from place E to be used in place B.
Right. Yeah. But see, it's quite a beautiful concept, and the and protocols like Eigen, Babylon, or Avail, these are enabling a world where things can be built at pretty fast speed, because, like I said, they are doing the heavy lifting, and all the operational things are done at the base layer. Now it's time for us as a companies to build applications on top of it without worrying about all the operations and working with different stakers. It's a quite nice primitive, and it's a good order that's coming up in the whole global crypto economics setup. And yeah, the future which we see is there will be multiple AVSs kind of applications, multiple applications being built on these primitives. And for us, what we want to see is creating what we are calling as subnets, like I told, application-oriented subnets, wherein the operators will be having, they can participate in one subnet or many more. That will be supported. But yeah, what we will do is we will create multiple applications around it, like I told, in phase 2 down the line, where we have a privacy-preserving internet ecosystem being built. It will be usually used for not just for access management, but for data computation as well. If you track this space, you have companies like Inco, Zama, and yeah, they are pushing heavily on the FG-based ecosystem. And similarly, we are pushing MPC-based ecosystem. And at some point in time, we do envision when FHE is ready to be used commercially in practice setup, MPC and FHE will complement, and then we can build a much more powerful privacy tool and privacy infrastructure where other companies can come and build applications. So we will create subnets which can be programmed for privacy preserving applications. We will have a marketplace around it where companies will come, deploy the algorithms, and open up APIs for other parties to start using it. So yeah, it's a beautiful world. The bases have been created, and we will enable good infrastructure down the line.
Great. Do you maybe, as last word, have any advice for builders looking into building their own AVS?
It's new. The system is evolving, so the best advice is to talk. They have been very supportive. The whole ecosystem and the team from Eigen is quite supportive. Yeah, talked with multiple other AVSs, learned from them, because the tech part is easy. What is to be figured out here is economics around and how to onboard different partners, and that can be done by knowledge sharing. So yeah, active talking and engagement is something which will help.
Super nice. Perfect. Where can we send the audience to know more about you and about about Silence?
Yeah, so anybody can just visit our website. We have a link at very top to book a call, and I can guarantee either I or our business heads or our CTO will jump on the call and talk whatever anybody's interested in around decentralized security, privacy, and AVS. And we'll laugh and love to talk and engage.
Well, Jay, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Maybe we should do this another time when you start rolling out the next phase for your AVS. Until then, I wish you like great success, and to the audience, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you very much. It's a quite nice platform for interaction and learning about what we're building. Thank you very much.